Happy 4th of July. We made it. We are here. It is not 10:05. We had some power outages. We had some thunderstorms going through here in southern Florida, which is completely typical for this time of year. But we are here. So today, why holidays hit different for introverts, the deep connection cravers, and the action item that I'm going to leave you with at the end of this, which this is going to be very short and sweet today. This one single thing is going to be a small action that is also an antidote for anxiety, and it is also a fantastic fuel for growing more and more resilience. So if that sounds like you, if that sounds like someone you love, make sure you share this video, and we're gonna jump right in. All right, my friends, so this 4th of July, this holiday, this Friday, I want to speak first to why this hits different for a lot of introverts who happen to often be deep thinkers and often overthinkers as well. And one of the reasons is it doesn't feel the same as when we were kids, and we really noticed that we're very deep feelers. Everyone was around, and maybe if we're in our 20s especially or beyond, many of us are in new homes, we're in new towns, we're in new places, we're surrounded by new people. Most of us at this point have had so many big degrees of change in our life, which means we often outgrow friends. We often are with different people or in this in-between state, just where we can be in between jobs or careers, where we're in between our tribes because they're not in the same growth phase as us. So even just recognizing that that's what that is, and yes, we can feel lonely, but now we understand, okay, I'm changing. I'm looking for people who are more like me and who I am and who I want to be now. It really takes some of that excess stress off. It helps us understand better. So, all right, what does this have to do with the holidays? So like I said, introverts are really deep thinkers often, and often overthinkers comes with that territory. So during the holidays especially, it is like the FOMO season of seeing people together, celebrating together, seeing comfort, familiarity. And what is the base of familiarity? It's family. It's feeling like you're at home. You have love, you have safety, you have belonging. So these are really deep times where even more so, introverts who already crave deep connections and are probably even more aware of it than extroverts, we're just more introspective of ourselves and what's going on in here, what's going on up here. Holidays are a time where we really, really feel if there's a hole in that space of wanting and craving deep connection with other people. So, all right. What are the first actions that we can take to getting it? And I'm already there. This is already the end of the video. So I'm going to leave you with one specific action, and I'm going to give you the general action because I want you to know where we're going with this. But what's really important to me is for you to know your starting places. So I'm going to break it down into very, very simple 1% starting points, because the action as a whole can feel really big. And if I just tell you the action, chances are you're probably not going to do it because it feels like a really big action, a really big task. So what I'm going to do is just give you some tiny bite-sized, digestible, really easy 1% places to start. That's what I love to do because it works. So introverts, how do we take the first actions to getting deep connection, which can't be forced? It's something that we find organically, but we can put ourselves in the position of creating opportunities and more opportunities to bringing in and finding deep connection with certain people, because we're not going to have it with everybody. Not everybody is exactly like us. Technically, there's nobody that is exactly you. There are no other Morgan Pambiancos in the world. There are no other Kristen Garrigans in the world. There are no other Christina Nileses in the world. There aren't. So we're finding people that value what we value and also want that deep connection too. All right, so you ready for it? Here's the big one. And remember, I'm going to break this down. We do the uncomfortable, which is so hard for introverts, this thing. and we put ourselves out there. And what do I mean by that? I mean, in your town, whether it's a new town or you've lived there your whole life, you start walking new paths. You start going some new places. You're not just inside all of the time. Or, like, for me, my job has me indoors at home, but there's opportunities where I can go and work at coffee shops. Or instead of going through the drive-thru, I can go in and order and sit down for a few minutes and not be on my phone and make myself available for conversation. Local bars, whether you're sitting in a bar, this was a really big goal for me in my mid-20s, was going into a bar, whether I was drinking alcohol or having a mocktail, and going completely alone. And there were times where I felt like I needed to be on my phone and I felt really nervous. And then I took breaks and I put it down and I just made myself open for talking, for that connection with somebody new. And that took practice, which is why I'm getting to the 1%, to getting to these things that we ultimately want and feel really good. And again, is the action that is the cure for anxiety. It's the cure for introverts with anxiety and a lot of the things that we have going on up here that stop us from living our best lives and keep us from going after what we really, really want, which at the heart of it is deep connection with people who get us and we feel we can be ourselves with. Who doesn't want that? And that's something that, differentiating introverts, we feel that desire, that craving for more, especially on holidays like today. All right, so another one, if you're not ready for the in-person stuff just yet, because we're all on different levels, is online. There's a fantastic app called Meetup, and I'm going to give you the 1% there, but it has all of these really neat adventures and activities, indoors, outdoors, that you can choose from, that people who are open to community, open to connection, that's what that app is for, meeting up, meeting like-minded people. And then another one is, I guarantee that if you're in a really tiny town or a really big city, it has Facebook communities. So finding the Facebook communities, Facebook groups that tell you all the community goings on. I've, at this point, lived at least 1 year plus in 4 different places, 4 different towns, cities, small, big, and I've used that, and they all have their own little group. Okay, so here is your gentle 1% easy action for doing that bigger action. Where do you start in the bigger action of doing the uncomfortable, putting yourself out there so that you can meet really cool people and have some of the best friends, the tribe members, the people that we've been looking for. All right, so if we're talking about the online, right, that app I just mentioned, it's not signing up for the thing and going tomorrow or going next week. If you feel like you're at that point and you're feeling really adventurous and excited, do it. But if you're feeling like that's a tall task right now, the 1% that I really encourage you to do is download the app and start browsing on it. It's called Meetup, Meetup. Or if you have Facebook, plugging in your area and seeing what community groups are there for you, going into the group section. Or another great 1% is listing out things that you don't do anymore that you used to love. And I'm going to give you a really cool example that I did last month. In a Facebook community in Naples here in Florida, there was a group meeting up of women that were doing a painting pottery night. And why stuff like that is so great for introverts like me, which I was really excited for this, was because you could show up, not know anybody, and you know that 100% of the time you're not stuck talking, you're not stuck feeling like you're under the spotlight or you have to perform, which is another type of anxiety, or like you have to be on 100% of the time. You actually get to do something, painting, picking out your pottery, where your focus, your mind is bringing you inward and making you thoughtful and doing something that you really used to love. So it doesn't feel like you have to perform or be small talking, which I hate. I think everyone hates it. I think deep thinkers, like some people are so good at it, but deep thinkers really, especially really hate it. It just feels so uncomfortable. So, and it just feels inauthentic, right? So what a way to have an experience where you know that you can go in and paint and kind of have that private time where you're doing something and you don't feel weird. Or that could be hiking and you're walking and you're seeing nature. That could be roller skating, playing chess, playing games. Rock climbing was something that I did as a way to meet new people. It feels a lot like taking the edge off of sitting down to a dinner, sitting down and just having a beverage in your hands, of doing something with your hands, which is a whole another topic for introverts and things that we can overthink and feel awkward about. When we feel inauthentic, it's very normal. So choose your 1% gentle action toward putting yourself out there, and let us know in the comments for your own accountability what that 1% is, whether it's something really, really micro, teeny tiny, which I always recommend starting with, or something that feels like you're ready to say yes to something a little bit more small, bite-sized, but bigger. Maybe something that's really putting yourself out there. The only reason that I advise against that, and I really do like the 1%, is because maybe we have moments of motivation or excitement, but then it's too big, and the moment that comes closer and closer, the day that that's coming up, we feel like that's too big and we end up not doing it, and then we feel bad about ourselves and we feel like we broke a promise to ourselves, and it gets us going into this spiral that I know we can all relate to. So I've been there a million times. So again, I'm going to leave you with this, the beauty of this 1% action and starting here in getting to that place where you have these authentic, beautiful friendships and relationships, which you can have at any age. I mentioned maybe on Instagram, maybe it was here, how a friend of mine said that she didn't feel she met her tribe, like her people, the people that she just like adores and feels so close to now, until she was, I think she said it was 42 years old. I'm trying to think, but it was definitely over 40. It was either 42 or 52. I'm just blanking. But my gosh, we all feel like we're too old, even when we're 31, even when we're 25, even when we're 21, even when we're younger, or we're in our 50s and we feel like, oh, I can't do that now. I can't make these new friendships. Why? That is just a thought. Who is telling you that? What's making you believe that? So, reminder that the beauty of taking this very small action is not only a massive step in curing and the antidote of releasing anxiety, but also in growing resilience, in growing the ability to have the setbacks, have the problems, have the failures, which are not a bad thing, even though the name gives us that connotation. But realizing those mistakes, those whoopsies, those, oh, that didn't work out, that wasn't the right relationship for me, that's okay. And that's a big part of what life is about. And that is resilience. That is something that we want to grow and understand. All right, my friends, I'm leaving you with that. Have a beautiful holiday. I think most of us, because of the time change, are probably going to be watching the recording. So with that, I'm going to make sure that I put this one up on YouTube, because I think this is a really important topic around loneliness, around introverts, around anxiety, around craving and building connection and growing resilience. All of this stuff is so rich and juicy. Okay, my friends, I'm saying goodbye, and I will talk to you soon.